How's it going, John?
Oh, hey, Eric. It is going well tonight. It is going well. It was a beautiful day today. Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful day today. And I even got to go outside for a little while, which was awesome.
Apparently, though, the rains are coming back. I have been informed.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I have not been watching my weather app, so I have no idea. I get a nice surprise every day. What is today going to be like?
I have my own personal weatherman in the shape of my boy.
Oh, that's true.
He keeps everybody informed on what the weather's looking like.
That's cool. Ooh, hey, this isn't really speaking of the weather, but there was a terrible fire yesterday at an ethanol plant up in a town nearby. Whatever happened to the end of that? Did you ever hear?
Yeah, they had to call in a foam truck from Portland proper to come put it out to get it under control. They had, I think my boy, I know you're asking because my boy kind of follows a little Pulse Point app, which tells him emergencies around.
Uh-huh.
And I think he said at one point there were 24, and I'm going to butcher the right terminology, 24 apparatus on site to try to control it from every jurisdiction around. So
wow.
It was a big deal.
Wow. I saw pictures, and my wife actually was I don't think she was like in that exact same area, but she was relatively in the area, bringing my son home from an orthodontist appointment. And she said traffic was a nightmare.
I bet, because it was one of the main roads they had to shut down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope all was well. At least what I saw on Twitter, which was like part way through, was that there had been no injuries. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So spring's definitely coming. And when I went outside to kind of do some chores and after work tonight, my wife looks at me and she's like, "We got 8 eggs today." We cannot eat 8 eggs a day. So, and that's, it's a little early. There's probably a couple that are not laying. So in another few weeks, I'm probably going to be getting like a dozen eggs a day. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with a dozen eggs a day. And she, rightly blames me because last spring, last fall, whenever it was, I guess it was spring. When we went to the store to get a couple of new chicks, because chickens stop laying, and we went to get 4 chicks, and I came home with 8. And, but I was like,
they were buy one, get one free, honey.
It's more like, ooh, these ones lay really dark brown eggs. Let's get those. And then I think I've said that there's these, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of them. But like they're like German engineered chickens that lay like 240 eggs a year, and they are like machines. They're awesome. So anyway, so we had to get 2 of those. And anyway, and then I got the other ones. Oh, come on. It's not a space thing. And she rightly, even at the time, was like, no, it's not a space thing, but it's a volume of eggs thing. So.
Well, thank you for the 18 eggs today for lunch.
Yes,
I took them home. We still had some others because being St. Patrick's Day as well, we pulled out all the green eggs. The eggs that have the green color. My wife, she loves St. Patrick's Day, and so there's green waffles, green eggs, green ham, green,
awesome.
Green food coloring in the milk. I mean, it's breakfast is green. So
virtual leprechauns at your house. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So. So that is, so my wife actually tried to make, succeeded in making macaroons this afternoon with green food coloring in them for St. Patrick's Day. And they were shockingly delicious. So I've had 3 or 4. They were very good. The other big thing for me this past couple days, I guess, I was going to say, because you said you had ants down in your office.
Yes.
And we wound up with ants in our bathroom, like going nuts. and
the little tiny sugar ant things.
Yeah, that little small. I don't know where. Like they were doing a diagonal right along the tile grout. From like the shower to the baseboard, and then going under the baseboard and going somewhere else, and we're like, okay,
right.
But I put out did some Googling and put out a cotton ball soaked in sugar and borax that is supposed to kill the nest, and left that out for 24 hours. And the first, within the first hour, there were tons of ants going, hey, sugar. And so, right. And for the last 24 hours, no ants. So just if you're interested, I now have 5 pounds of borax that I used 1.5 tablespoons of. If you need borax, I will be happy to throw a whole bunch in a Ziploc bag and hand it to you.
I may take you up on that. If that works well for you, because we buy the ant trap things where just from the local hardware store, that you snap off the end and the ants walk in it and then supposedly take it back to the nest and it kills them off. But they don't seem to work that well. So if that seemed to be successful for you, I may take you up on the borax.
Well, I mean, maybe give it another 24, 48 hours. See if I need a second treatment or something like that. Week. But the price was right, and the seemed to be very successful. Actually, so the funny thing is, so I walked into it. I actually got it at Lowe's, and I walked into Lowe's, and there was a guy right up front saying, "Hey, can I help you find anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, borax." And he looks at me, he's like, "Ants?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here we go." So, okay, evidently, I'm not the first person. Fun. So anyway, that was my, I guess I did bunches of other stuff this weekend. Mowed for the first time, got into the bees. It was good. It was a good week.
I still have no idea what I do over the weekends. All the days just kind of blend one to the other. One of the exciting things this week that happened is our local library is back open.
Ooh.
And we have always been, my wife especially, has the library is a weekly destination, or had been forever. So it's back open with limited attendance. They only let so many people in at a time, and they ask you to please don't spend more than 30 minutes, which seems like a long time to come in and browse and pick a book. But, none of the computers, you can't touch the computers. You basically go find your book and you can, and then you leave. And so my boy and my wife went this morning, I think, to check out the library, because it was Wednesday's a no school day. Well, it's homework day, not a attend class day.
Yeah.
And so my boy, what would a 15-year-old boy bring home from a library?
Very much depends on the boy.
As you know, my boy, this probably is not, much a surprise. But so he comes home and like, what'd you get from the library? He brought a book on physics that he thought would be cool. Another book on astronomy and outer space, which he thought would be cool.
Awesome.
And a book on how to learn German.
Okay.
He has just kind of decided he wants to learn German. He's been using a Duolingo app to practice German. And I'm just going to go with he's interested in his surname roots. But it's because my wife came down, I don't remember, after she had gone and while I was at work, and she said, "Guess what books the boy brought home? You'll get maybe 2. And I got 2, but I missed the book on how to learn German.
That's funny. That's funny.
But it's not new. He's mentioned this a number of times over the years, and we typically try to go to lunch on Saturdays, and this last Saturday he was using his Duolingo app to, pick words out for German, that he was seeing. And so we were practicing German. So
that's awesome.
I probably should have got that one and thought about that one, but
well, if he sticks with it, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
For physics, I don't know if he has yet or if you have ever read A Brief History of Time, but that's a great book. And
that rings a bell.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
But my kids, no, actually, I think just my older one read it. And then bought his own copy of it at one point with like Christmas money. And I was like, okay, I support that.
I'll ask him. But, I'll have to check.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. I did not throw any exchange in for follow-up. Still going on, obviously. And I guess I've sort of got a follow-up-y topic for one of my topics, but I guess we'll hit that in topics. How about you? What'd you bring for topics tonight?
we have not talked about blockchain for a long time.
Oh, we should chain that block.
And so it's come back in the news, and it's becoming, I see more and more references to NFTs or Nifties or non-fungible tokens. Essentially what these are is a collectible that it's a way to transform a digital work of art, I suppose you could call it, into a verifiable asset that you can trade on a blockchain. I think we talked about these a long time ago. You remember CryptoKitties?
I don't.
Where CryptoKitties, I'll see if I can look up the episode and reference it in the notes of the podcast, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it at some point, probably 2 years ago. But CryptoKitties, it was a digital trading game that was built on top of the Ethereum platform. And you can kind of think of that NFTs or Nifties in that sense. Anyways, that's just backstory to the actual story. So any place there's money and sizable amounts of money trading hands, bad guys will show up and try to take it.
Here come fraudsters.
Yes.
Yep.
So there are a bunch of digital art marketplaces now that have sprung up to help sell these Nifties, these NFTs. You can think Jack Dorsey from Twitter fame is trying to auction off his very first tweet. The NBA sells NFTs of plays for NBA players. I mean, there's just tons of stuff out there that people are selling.
Can you explain that? Like, so what is...
No, I can't.
Is it just, here's a signed hash of a video file, and now you can claim ownership of it because it's owned, quote unquote, owned by your crypto wallet?
Uh-huh. That's pretty much it. You are now the official owner of whatever that digital work of art is, and people can verify that you own that digital work of art, whatever it may be. I don't understand.
But convert
the draw,
the ping to the GIF, and
I know. I don't understand. But apparently, if you're a crypto, there are so many. I mean, when we first started talking about cryptocurrencies, there were probably 10 or 12 that you could probably name. And I think when we stopped talking about, they were in the hundreds. They're in the thousands of crypto. I mean, just so much stuff going on. Anyways, one of these digital art marketplaces called the Nifty Gateway discovered that hackers had taken over accounts of different users and stole the artwork. And some of the, so you basically lost your digital certificate of authenticity for said digital asset. These
so by breaking
tokens.
into the wallet account or the marketplace where people stored their wallets, they were able to transfer those to other
correct
accounts or
correct
wallets,
just like they would transfer Bitcoin or something else. Right. So, and they found they were being sold on various places. Now, to tie it back into one of our other favorite topics, the Nifty Gateway came out and said that they encourage people to use two-factor authentication, and all the accounts that were hacked that were affected apparently had not enabled two-factor authentication. So their follow-on is there was no indication of compromise in the actual Nifty Gateway platform. Rather, it was people who use the platform did not put 2FA on their devices.
So they might have been, had a password, reused a password, had a password attacked, and maybe they, who knows if they could, brute force the password if they've got,
right. Who knows? But that actually kind of segues a little bit into the second topic, which I think you were going to throw in follow up, but I liked the segue, so I put it as a topic.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. They didn't use two-factor authentication, not even SMS, huh?
Nope. Apparently. So the second article is basically a call for why it's time to stop using SMS as a form of authentication at all. So I was not aware of this, but apparently there are a number of different companies that allow you to run text messaging for other people. And so the article is in Vice, and the author granted essentially a researcher access and said, here's my phone number, go take over my text messages. So with the guy's permission, he went and just showed how easy it was to take over. And this wasn't, I think we've talked about SS7 and SIM swapping and some of these other things.
Yeah.
That, SIM jacking, I think you lose access to your cell phone entirely. And that's one way that I know we talked about it with digital currency wallets and stuff, of how people lost access to their Bitcoin or whatever because someone stole their phone, which was used as a second factor. What this one is, apparently there is a pretty trivial way to reroute just the text messages. So I, as the owner of the phone, my phone still works. I just stopped getting text messages because these are...
So they don't... It's not that they go to both...
devices.
No. It's that they get routed entirely separately.
Right.
Okay.
And apparently there are companies who specialize and have legitimate apparent business cases for this to allow you to advertise with a phone number to text message people. So it's another route for advertising. I'm sure you've received text message ads.
Oh, all the time.
I hate them. So apparently you can go to one of these companies and all you have to do is pinky swear that you are the rightful owner of said phone number, and they will do all the, you have to sign, it's a letter of authorization saying I have the authority to switch this phone number just for text messages. So they send that to the owning company and it routes it. And apparently this is popular a lot of times, especially with voice over IP, VoIP or business numbers, because those typically have to route between different firms, different carriers, I guess is the right way to say that. So if you can go, the line here is for $16, you can go to one of these companies and do a free trial and basically take anybody's phone number and have all those text messages routed to wherever you want them to be. And, the letter of authorization says you promise that you're doing this for legitimate business services. You're not doing anything illegal, but, if you're a bad guy, you probably don't care about a document that says don't do illegal things. So anyways.
It just let me
I thought that was
numbers, filling out the LOA info with fake info.
Yep. And then you can receive the text messages that are supposed to be routed to that other phone number and nobody knows. And so if you're using SMS as your second factor, like if someone knows your phone number,
oh my gosh,
they can do that. And then you can just go to start trying to log into sites that say, oh, what's your second factor? Oh, you need to reset your password. Let me text you a link to your phone so that you can reset your password.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So
often. Well, I love to see our senator quoted in here. It's not hard to see the enormous threat to safety and security this kind of attack poses. The FCC must use its authority to force phone companies to secure their networks from hackers. Former Chairman Pai's approach of industry self-regulation clearly failed. Industry self-regulation. Yeah.
The fox guarding the hen house always works.
Oh, totally. I'm absolutely going to guard that hen house with their lives. You bet. Oh, that is so
anyways.
Funny. Okay.
There you go. Those are my 2 articles for this week.
I also brought 2 articles tonight. So the first is Krebs' article about default values. So this is kind of one of those situations where the developers probably just put something in like as a default, expecting that it would be replaced by the customer info, but they didn't actually own the default. So in this particular case, there's a domain, defaultinstitution.com. So, and
example.com.
Exactly. Example. So let's see. So this is the opening quote from Brian Krebs is, if you sell web-based software for a living and ship code that references an unregistered domain name, you're asking for trouble. But when the same mistake is made by a Fortune 500 company, the results could range from costly to disastrous. So this is a company called Fiserv that does banking software that they sell to banks. I think it's like, online banking stuff generally. I don't know the company well, although I think they actually, I'm not sure if they're based in here, but they've got a site nearby. I know. Because I know at least one person who used to work there. Anyway, so there's a security researcher who saw in a message from his bank that referenced a curious domain, defaultinstitution.com. Because this is the sort of software that is kind of, I assume at least, kind of like SAP or one of those sort of big enterprise software things that you have a deployment and it's not just, hey, double click on the DMG or the self-extracting archive to install the software. It has to scale. It hooks in with bank, probably mainframe systems and all the other stuff at a bank. But I suspect that many people that bank with credit unions and smaller banks, and I don't know, maybe even bigger banks, are using this as their, app and interface to online banking. So, the security researcher, did a Whois search and the domain wasn't registered. So he registers it. And then sets up a catch-all email account and waits to see what happens, and receives a whole bunch of emails from institution customers and from the company itself, and basically lots of places where they in a implementation clearly didn't change the default domain. So let's see, the quote here is, it appears domain is provided as a default and customer bank IT departments are either assuming they don't need to change it or are not aware that they could or should. And then in a response to questions from Krebs, Fiserv says it acknowledged it had inadvertently included references to defaultinstitution.com as a placeholder in software solutions, and quote, "We have identified 5 clients for which auto-generated emails to their customers included the domain name defaultinstitution.com in the reply to address." So that's kind of the problem. This placeholder URL was inadvertently left unchanged during implementation of these solutions. Upon being made aware of the situation, we immediately conducted an analysis to locate and replace instances of the placeholder domain name. We have also notified the clients whose customers received those emails. So,
whoops.
5 is actually a lower, like as I was starting to read the number, I was like, ooh, that could be really bad. So, I mean, 5 doesn't seem awful. I mean, not that any is good, but it feels like that could have been worse.
5 is 5 times the number of clients those individual services have.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. So the other funny thing, and nice thing about this, so what's this guy's first name? Sorry. I have Vey in the notes, but I don't remember what his first name is. Abraham Vey. Abraham evidently had a similar situation for a different company in a couple years ago, AirWatch, which is a mobile device management company. And so he said after registering that domain, he started getting traffic from all around the world, from Fortune 500 company devices, etc. But evidently in both situations, so back in the AirWatch situation and then in this situation, the researcher said he plans to give Fiserv control over defaultinstitution.com, hand over the messages intercepted by his inbox. He's not asking for much in return. I was promised a t-shirt and a case of beer for my efforts then, like for AirWatch, but alas, never received one. This time I'm hoping to actually receive a t-shirt. So, okay. I would hope that a company like Fiserv would be like, that is an awfully good deal.
Yeah. How about we give you a little more than just a t-shirt?
Well, I have no idea if they have a bug bounty or not, but
right.
That definitely seems seems like a good situation, or a situation that some form of remuneration might be in order. So anyway, that's the first one. My second article is kind of follow-up-y from SolarWinds, and it was actually posted in Slack from Wayne today, I think. But this is about Mimecast. So Mimecast was evidently one of the companies impacted by SolarWinds, and impacted enough that the quote of the article I read, although the link I put in here for the notes is actually to the actual Mimecast report, but the article titles were Mimecast software source code stolen because of SolarWinds. So the incident report from Mimecast says that in January, they became aware of a security incident later determined to be conducted by the same sophisticated threat actor responsible for SolarWinds, and that the threat actor used the SolarWinds supply chain compromise to gain access to part of their production grid environment. I'm not sure what they mean by production grid environment. Anyway, so the thing is that in January, Microsoft notified them that one of their certificates was compromised, and that Microsoft had seen traffic from non-Mimecast domains interacting with customers' Office 365 tenants. So this situation back in January caused a whole bunch of customers to have to go update their Mimecast certificates, and Mimecast had to basically re-roll and re-push out new certificates and then disable the old ones. The quote here was that, let's see, Microsoft informed us that the threat actor used the certificate to connect to a low single-digit number of our mutual customers' M365 tenants from non-Mimecast IP address ranges. And that once a majority of our customers had implemented the new certificate, Microsoft disabled the compromised certificate at our request. And then they were doing incident response at this point. So they must have called in Mandiant. So this says, supported by Mandiant, we confirmed the incident was related to the SolarWinds Orion software compromise and was perpetrated by the same sophisticated threat actor. Our investigation determined the initial intrusion resulted from Sunburst malware, the backdoor present in the compromised version of SolarWinds Orion software we had previously used in our environment. So,
whoops.
It's the phrasing of that sentence is a little bit weird in that, investigation determined the initial intrusion resulted from Sunburst malware, which is the backdoor present. But the way that was phrased, I would have thought, so they saw the same backdoor, but not necessarily the same thing. But then the way they're phrasing the version of SolarWinds Orion software we had previously used in our environment. So did they rip it out? Did they have an old version still hanging around? That's a little weird phrasing. Mm-hmm. But whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, but so... as the investigation progressed, we determined the threat actor had established additional access methods and, to the same segment of our production grid environment. We removed and blocked the threat actor's means of access. So, shut down firewalls at that point or something like that. And then all compromised systems were Windows-based. Makes sense because the initial landing was on Exchange. Presumably. Oh, sorry. No. I'm sorry. This is the SolarWinds. So this is that was a .NET thing. But anyway, so it makes sense. Still, it was Windows. All compromised systems were Windows-based and peripheral to the core of our production customer infrastructure. So corporate systems, probably ish.
Mm-hmm.
But then here was this was somebody had to make a hard decision here, and this probably not entirely, but for this type of sentence, we completely replaced all compromised servers to eliminate the threat. They didn't just pave them and reinstall everything. We completely replaced all compromised servers. Mm. Maybe hope you didn't pick up some of Mimecast's old servers on the used server market either.
Right.
But I found that sentence to be interesting. And then why did they do it? So the other quote here is the investigation revealed the threat actor accessed and downloaded a limited number of our source code repositories. Limited number. But as the threat actor is reported to have done with other victims of the SolarWinds Orion supply chain attack, we believe the source code downloaded by the threat actor was incomplete and would be insufficient to build and run any aspect of the Mimecast service.
Okay.
I can imagine it would make sense. I mean, they've probably got a ton of different services, and doesn't mean that there isn't critical stuff in whatever code they might have downloaded, though. And then, let's see, we found no evidence that the threat actor made any modifications to our source code. So that's certainly a big thing. Like, can you use a supply chain attack to perpetuate or to perpetrate another supply chain attack, especially on something?
Right.
I mean, I guess I don't know the relative customer number of customers between Orion or SolarWinds and Mimecast, but Mimecast, I think, is pretty broadly used. So we'll see. Anyway, let's see. what was I saying? We found no evidence the threat actor made any modifications to our source code, nor do we believe there was any impact on our products. So that was what I pulled out of that. So I suspect there's still many more disclosures to come. And against, on both situations, the SolarWinds as well as the exchange. So we will see. We will see.
Alrighty. Well, you ready for me to tie my something fun back to the beginning?
Okay, library? What? Sorry, yes.
Close.
Okay.
So my something fun is a show I stumbled across while looking for things in German for my boy.
Okay.
Because I mentioned, so I stumbled across on HBO Max a television show from Germany. It's out of German and Romania. It's all in German with English subtitles called Hackerville. So I've only watched the first episode. It's TVMA, and so before I let my boy watch it, I wanted to watch a few episodes. To see if he'd actually think it would be interesting, because I think he would like watching a show where everybody talks German. Okay. So he could see if he could pick out words. And I think I might like it because it's titled Hackerville. So,
okay.
Basically the gist of it is it's from 2018 in Europe, and now it's available in the US, but it's about a bank hack where someone is hacking into a bank and stealing money from a bank, and it's the tech people who are going to figure out how, the investigation that's set forth by the government in conjunction with the bank on, all right, who's actually doing the hack? Where's the hack coming from? Can they track it down? Mm-hmm. And they discover the hacker is broken in. And so far, like I said, I've only watched one episode, and it doesn't go for the hacker memes, right? It doesn't show melting servers or people it shows people in hoodies, but not in that, the stereotype way.
I'm wearing a hoodie right now. Come on. Don't diss people in hoodies.
So anyways, like I said, I watched one episode and it kind of got me hooked. It got me hooked enough. All right, I want to watch what episode number 2 is. And hopefully, so far, the TVMA is for language, as far as I can tell. Well, like I said, the first episode, because it translates. I don't know what the actual German word actually is, but the word they translated to in English was a TVMA quality word. So
okay.
I'm wondering if I can turn off subtitles and just have my boy. Can you actually make out the German? But anyways, so that's my something fun. It kind of is interesting to watch a different take on a television show from Europe, and it was well done. The whole cinematography, like I said, I couldn't understand a single word. Or I understood very few words, no, yes, thank you, in German, you pick those up. But other than that, I thought it was pretty well done. So I will continue to watch it, and hopefully it works out where it'll be something I can give to my boy to watch, and see if he gets hooked on learning German via German television shows.
Okay.
So, there you go. That's pretty cool. Fun for this week.
That's pretty cool. Okay. I was just reading the summary in the link. Yeah. One of the links that you might put in there. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have 2-ish something funs. Call it 1.5, because my half, which I'll talk about first, is this past Sunday was Pi Day. So I didn't actually mention that on here. Although I did see. Oh, and in fact, I will find the link and I'll dig it in here. You can put it in here. That there was a great article I saw on Twitter and that my wife saw and actually read to me as we were driving to the feed store or something like that about, we shouldn't be celebrating pi. We should really be celebrating tau and tau is basically 2 pi. Did you see that? Because it was all about how, pi is really the wrong number because it's confusing when when you're trying to teach students and people just learning, trigonometry and stuff like that, because pi is half of the number of radians in a circle. So tau is basically 2 pi.
All of them.
Is all of them. And so we should really be using tau, which is like, it must be 628 or something like that since 2 pi. But anyway, back to Pi Day. Because our family we sort of have a tradition of eating pie on Pi Day. And I tweeted a picture on Twitter, but I guess that's redundant, we have this cool pie pan that I think my sister-in-law gave us that has a big symbol pi down in the middle of it and then has the digits of pi wrapping around the outside of it. And we don't use it very often, but we try to always use it at least on Pi Day. And we made a chicken pot pie and I made a banana cream pie for dinner. And oh my gosh, they were both delicious. And I am not hungry at all at the moment, but my mouth is watering. They were so good. So anyway, so that was fun. So Pi Day, I hope people celebrated. We should have said something last week. I didn't even think about it until I think on Saturday my wife was mentioned, by the way, tomorrow's Pi Day. And
in June we can celebrate Tau Day.
Well, exactly. I need to put it on my calendar. So anyway, there you go. So that's my first one.
All right.
The other thing that I saw sometime this week that I thought was amazing was this article about the Antikythera mechanism. Have you ever heard anything about this?
No.
I had not either, but this article was really cool. And there's a link in here to a video that I started to watch as I hadn't actually realized it until I went to come in and do notes for the podcast. But the video looks like it's a 30-minute documentary or something like that. So I've got to go watch the video. In fact, I'm planning on watching it as soon as we hang up. But so this Antikythera mechanism, they say, is let's see here. The quote is, "It's a fragmentary ancient Greek astronomical calculator, perhaps the earliest example of a geared device." So this is, it's amazing. So let's see. It is a hand-powered mechanism. It was discovered off the coast of Antikythera Island in Greece. That's what it comes from. So let's see. In 1900, a Greek sponge diver named Elias Stadiatis discovered the wreck of an ancient cargo ship off the coast of Antikythera Island in Greece. He and other divers recovered all kinds of artifacts from the ship. A year later, an archaeologist named Valerios Stais was studying what he thought was just a piece of rock recovered from the shipwreck, but noticed there was a gear wheel embedded in it. It turned out to be an ancient mechanical device. So the Antikythera mechanism is now housed in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. So there's 82 surviving fragments, originally housed in a wooden box roughly the size of a shoebox with dials on the outside and a complex assembly of gears within. The largest known piece is known as Fragment A, which has bearings, pillars, and a block. Another piece, Fragment D, has a disc, a 63-tooth gear, and a plate. The mechanism's very existence offers strong evidence that such technology existed as early as 150 to 100 BC, but the knowledge was subsequently lost. Similar machines with equivalent complexity didn't appear again until the 18th century.
Wow.
While it was found on a Roman cargo ship, historians believe it is Greek in origin, possibly from the island of Rhodes, which was known for impressive displays of mechanical engineering. So there's more info in here, but basically in 1951, so 50 years later, a British science historian investigated the workings with X-ray and gamma ray photographs and published a 70-page paper in 59, hypothesizing the mechanism was used to calculate the motion of stars and planets. So the first known analog computer.
Huh.
And then in 2002, it says Michael Wright, then curator of the mechanical engineering at the Science Museum in London, made headlines with new, more detailed X-ray images of the device taken with linear tomography, which means that only features in a particular plane come into focus, enabling closer inspection and pinning the exact location of each gear. So Wright's closer analysis revealed a fixed central gear in the mechanism's main wheel around which the other moving gears could rotate. He concluded the device was specifically designed to model epicyclic motion, in keeping with the ancient Greek notion that celestial bodies moved in circular patterns called epicycles. So, so pre-Copernicus, so the fixed point around which they moved was believed to be the Earth. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So anyway, keeps going on. More searching. Let's see. This is in 2006. New images revealed much more of the original Greek transcription, which was subsequently translated. Contain about 1,000 to 2,000 characters, or roughly 95% of the surviving text. Reconstruction of the device based on the high-resolution X-ray tomography confirmed it was an astronomical computer used to predict the positions of heavenly bodies in the sky. It's likely the Antikythera mechanism once had 37 gears, of which 30 survive, and its front face had graduations showing the solar cycle and zodiac, along with pointers to indicate positions of sun and moon. And then blah, 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 keeps going on. X-rays of the front cover accurately represent the cycles of Venus and Saturn, 462 and 442 years, respectively.
Wow.
So after considerable struggle, they managed to match evidence in fragments A and D to a mechanism for Venus, which exactly models its 462-year planetary period relation, with the 63-tooth gear playing a crucial role. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, they're like, how was this made? Nothing of similar technology has been found, and how did they make it? So here's another quote here. The concentric tubes at the core of the planetarium that carried the astronomical outputs are where my faith in Greek tech falters, and where the model might also falter. Lathes would be the way today, but we can't assume they had those for metal. Furthermore, he added, though metal is precious and so would have been recycled, it's odd that nothing remotely similar has been found or dug up. If they had the tech to make the Antikythera mechanism, why did they not extend this tech to devising other machines, such as clocks? Nonetheless, this is a key theoretical advance to how the cosmos was constructed in the mechanism. Now we must prove the feasibility of making it with ancient techniques. So, anyway, I read this article. I was like, this is amazing. I had no idea.
Now I have to go watch the video.
This is cool. And yeah, so I don't know if it's going to be good. I watched the first 30 seconds of the video and went, oh crap, that's 30 minutes. I'm not going to be able to watch that whole thing before we have to start recording. So
right.
All I had read was the article. But there you go. That's my something fun.
All right,
Antikythera mechanism.
Well, next week I will be remote from my remoteness. We are going to Grandma's house for spring break.
All right. Well, don't forget to take your microphone.
Yes, I'll take the microphone and an extra mask. Although Grandma and Grandpa are very excited because they've been vaccinated, so they're excited that people will go visit them now.
So. Oh, very nice. Well, we're still a ways away in Oregon from getting down to where we can get vaccinated, but
Well, did you see that May 1st will be open to anyone who wants it? Can make an appointment.
I saw that President Biden had asked for that, but
apparently Oregon announced that anyone who wants one, they're no longer rationing them. It's not that you'll be able to walk into the doctor on May 1st and get one. It's May 1st. There are no longer restrictions of who can sign up to get one starting May 1st.
Okay. So the A, B, C, Group A, Group B, Group C will be Group Everyone.
Yes, it becomes Group Everybody. Yep.
Well.
So there you go.
Okay. Very exciting.
Alrighty, dude.
All right. Hey, have a good week.
I will.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
See you, John.
Bye.
Bye.